And earlier this year, President Obama stepped into British politics and warned Britain not to leave the EU.
If one of our best friends is in an organization that enhances their influence and enhances their power and enhances their economy, then I want them to stay in it. Or at least I want to be able to tell them, you know, I think this makes you guys bigger players.
Not everyone in Britain was happy with that speech, and now Donald Trump is saying the president should not have intervened.
He didn't stop it at the water's edge because he made statements about this incredible part of the world and that this particular country and, frankly, a large group of countries should do. I mean, he's constantly dictating to the world what they should do. The world doesn't listen to him. Obviously, you can see that by the vote. But he's constantly dictating to other countries. So, you know, certainly it doesn't stop at the water's edge with him. And, you know, very importantly, he got it totally wrong. And he's embarrassed. I mean, he's embarrassed by the Supreme Court decision yesterday, which was a real rebuke. And he's very embarrassed by, he got involved. I don't know if that was through a friendship with David Cameron. It could have been. And I understand friendship. And I can understand why he did it. I can understand that. But I think it's something he shouldn't have done. It's not his country. It's not his part of the world. He shouldn't have done it. And I actually think that his recommendation perhaps caused it to fail.
Co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Tucker Carlson, goes on the record. Nice to see you, Tucker.
Hey, Greta.
Well, Donald Trump did finally give President Obama credit for something. He says that he's partially responsible for this.
I'd probably give him too much credit. I mean, I don't think the president's comments were helpful. I don't think they were pivotal either.
I don't either.
There are structural problems here, and here's the difference. Most people believe in countries, and most of their leaders really don't. They're globalists. They think that, you know, citizenship has no borders. They're citizens of the world. That capital should flow freely between countries. They have vested reasons for believing this, but the average person kind of likes this country and its language and its culture and its history, and organizations like the EU undermine those things.
Well, I also think that there's sort of the failure of the politicians. I mean, they don't have much credibility because things aren't going well for a lot of people around the world. Not going particularly well in many places here in the United States and in the UK. And so it's sort of hard to sort of take, you know, when they tell you, no, we should do this, it's sort of hard at some point to believe them. At some point you think that, you know, that you're just being bamboozled.
Or they have their own reasons for saying that. I mean, certainly globalization has helped a lot of people, me included. I mean, I've been a beneficiary. Most higher income people have been. Well, because it helps people at a higher income. I mean, look, under the Obama economy, 95% of all wage gains went to the top 1%. I'm not complaining. It's helped everyone in my neighborhood, but it's also a fact. And what's annoying is when they deny it and pretend that free trade and immigration help everybody, that the benefits are evenly distributed. They're just not. That's not true. And so by lying about it, you set people's expectations really high, and then they're crushed. If you think you're getting a pony for Christmas and you get a bag of hair, you're mad about it. And so all these things were sold to the population as all good. You're going to get rich under NAFTA. Immigration is great for you. And that's just not true. It's great for people at the high end of the income scale, period.
So what's going to happen now with Britain? What's your sort of expectation?
I mean, look, probably the British economy will contract a little bit. I mean, the truth is globalization is good for the finance sector, and that's a massive part of the British economy. In London, that is the economy. So the cost of business will rise for the banks, for sure, and some of them are already saying they're going to lay people off. Long term, I mean, look, Britain was independent for 1,000 years, from the Norman invasion up until the early 1970s, literally 1,000 years, and they did fine, like they ran the world, actually. So there's reason to believe they're capable of recovering from this. I mean, maybe overstating the doomsday scenario. They have an economy, and to some degree we do too, that's largely built on international finance, and that's fine, and that may suffer.
All right, so any impact for us?
Yeah, of course. Look, the EU is going away. There's absolutely no way.
You don't think that Angela Merkel is going to try to hold this one together?
Of course she is. Germany now runs Europe completely. Britain was the counterbalance to that. I mean, Britain, France, Germany, I mean, they're not that, the Netherlands, there are not that many huge economies in Europe, but now Germany is preeminent. And so if I'm Spain or Portugal, or France for that matter, and I'm looking at Germany and saying, really? I want to be part of an organization that you dominate completely? No. I mean, the support for leaving in these other countries, Netherlands particularly, France also, is really high. Trumpism, which is another word for nationalism, is a global trend.
So tell me how it affects us here.
Well, probably it will cause our economy to contract to some degree. Again, the finance sector. one of the main points of globalization is that it allows capital to flow freely with less friction across borders. That is really good for finance, and there is some trickle-down effect from that.
What do you mean by finance?
I mean banking, basically.
Oh, okay, well, not everybody's a banker. I mean, a lot of people aren't bankers, and a lot of people aren't even that dependent on bankers for, they aren't that dependent for their, they maybe if they're trying to get loans for their business.
You're absolutely right. But there is some trickle-down effect. I mean, that's completely real. On the other hand, I don't know, there are other factors that people take into consideration when they think about what they want, and one of them is sovereignty. They want to be part of a country. This is the massive divide between the leadership and the people in most of the world.
We'll wait to see what happens with Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland.
Yes.
With this. Anyway, Tucker, always nice to see you.
You're the best. Thank you, Greta.